Photographs and documents released by the United States Department of Justice have provided new detail about the final moments of disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who died in custody at the Metropolitan Correctional Centre in New York on August 10, 2019. The newly released materials include previously unseen images showing medics performing CPR on Epstein after he was found hanging in his cell, as well as photographs of his body on a stretcher. Internal prisons records, diagrams of Epstein's cell, and images of materials allegedly used in his death were also disclosed. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing growing political pressure as his communications chief, Allan, resigned a day after his chief of staff, McSweeney, also stepped down over advice linked to the controversy. Global affairs analyst Ejike Okpa joins us now from Dallas, Texas, for a conversation on the story. Ejike, good afternoon. Good to have you back on with us here on the news. Ejike,
thank you for having me.
So, what are the broader diplomatic and political implications of the U.S. Justice Department releasing new materials related to Jeffrey Epstein's death at this time?
Well, this thing has been going on for 6 years. That's 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein, suspiciously died in his holding cell. Both political parties have used it, to sort of make the other side look like they are the ones who have something to hide. And now that the information is coming out, a lot of people are uncomfortable, and that has even gone beyond the pond to UK. You saw what happened in UK with Prince, whatever his name is, Andrew, and now, the former ambassador. So what it makes everybody now, most people are nervous. We don't know what is what, because it's come to where even when the government shares information, because of the trust factor that is sort of diminished or diminishing in the system, most people don't know what is what. But every country now has to kind of pause and see what lesson can be learned with this Epstein stuff, because it makes you wonder, how was this one guy able to do what he did for the duration of the time he did it? How all these prominent people, both, political figures as well as corporate giants, compromised to where, it makes you wonder, after the microphone and the camera is off, what do people do behind the scene? And so I guess the story, those who write, this type of story now have a lot of material for the next decades. They're going to be writing about it. And the more they write about it, the more confusion we are going to be exposed to.
The more confusion indeed. But there is renewed scrutiny in the Epstein case. And I'm wondering how this case is going to affect international perception of the U.S. justice and also prison system.
Well, everybody's saying this, thank God for technology, instant messaging. People are now looking at America is, like we say, in my father's village, the wind is blown on the chicken. And now we can see that all that has been covered by the feather end. That's pretty. So there's a lot of things that needs to be gotten right in America because of what has happened in the past decades. No particular president is going to be held responsible for it. And so people are watching and said, are we really where we, what we think we are? If truth is to set anybody free, how come when we want to say the truth, a lot of people get nervous? So the truth has become, like Putin said at one time, who is defining the truth? And so the people are confused. The whole world is in turmoil in terms of, what do I believe? So the only thing you can believe is the one that you did. But if somebody else did it and is telling you this is how it is, like James Harley Chase, wrote in one of his, novels, believe that you believe anything. So the U.S. Justice Department is having a crisis of confidence, and how they're going to make that crisis go away so that they are seen as an impartial department that will, do what it takes to get to the truth and use the truth or the evidence to go after somebody is yet to be seen. I live here, and certain things I see and certain things I've been involved in, and I shake my head. And I can tell you one time when I served on the grand jury, Dallas County, how things were done. And I was like, maybe this is why some people get convicted because of perception of their ethnicity or their last name or the zip code they live in. So it is what it is. Life is an evolving thing. It's an experiment. We keep trying things and to see what works for everybody.
Ejike, never would have thought, but thank you very much for joining us.